What's wrong, Rose? What's wrong, Rosie? Hi, Rosie. Oh, these smell like perfume. I am not kidding. If you haven't had passion fruit, you're really missing out. But we're not eating these. I've got plenty for eating. These are for soaping. Now, why in the world, Patrick, would you put passion fruit in a soap? What possible reason could you have for putting passion fruit in a soap? Can you say the biggest bubbles you've ever seen? Can you say passion fruit is one of the most beloved of tropical fruits that grows right here in my own backyard like a weed? And so it's something that's easily accessible. And because I'm going to be actually putting in my shop my passion fruit tea, which is the leaves and the stems, for you to purchase, along with some other wonderful items that I've been slow in getting put in the shop. But this delicious custard within these will make absolutely divine soap. And it will actually have a fragrance of the passion fruit, because I'm also going to be using passion fruit oil as one of the, well, primary oils in this soap. So come along with me as we make passion fruit. All right. Some of these I didn't cut as well, but basically I'm just going to scrape out the goodness out of the skin, and this skin is not going to waste. All right. Oh, this smells so lovely. It's like just this fruity tropical perfume. It is. That's the best description I have for passion fruit, and I'm passionate about it. It grows wild here. Now, it's not the native passion fruit. They make little tiny fruits about this size. Really cute, very tart little fruits. Not as sweet and juicy as this variety. These grow down in Mexico. And Texas borders Mexico. And so they're very common here. They have naturalized here, but they're not the native. Well, I don't even think the so-called native one is native. I think it's just a naturalized one from the Mideast. I'm not sure, or the, excuse me. When I refer to the East, I am referring to a Mideastern country, not Mideast United States. And they are, you know, what is wonderful about the leaves and the stems and the roots of the plant is how it's used to help people got a little bit of the skin in there, and I don't need that in there. So, the leaves, stems, and roots are commonly used in sleep preparations, but their most useful benefit is that they bring peace. They help. There is actually science behind this, that they can help with anxiety. And a lot of people tincture it, but it's something I don't think needs to be adulterated with alcohol, like many other herbs and preparations that do need alcohol to get the constituents that are needed out of the herb in question. In this case, water works very well. So I sell it in the shop as just a dried leaves, stems, and roots that you can make a tea or a decoction at home with, rather than a tincture, because it's an unnecessary use of alcohol, quite frankly. Alcohol is needed in many tinctures. Well, not all. Some constituents can be gleaned from using glycerin, water, vinegar, depending on the herb. Some things need alcohol to break down the cell walls that contain all that goodness that we need. And this is proven by science. This isn't just speculation or folk medicine. This is so delicious in yogurt. I just love it. You can make little tea cakes, little passion fruit tea cakes that are just wonderful. I've made something very similar to a lemon curd using passion fruit, and oh my gosh, is it delicious, because it has a tartness and a sweetness and just that special something extra that I think just works really well in a curd. And I'm crazy about lemon curd, and I know it's not good for you. It's got butter and sugar and eggs and but that doesn't mean I can't love it. I just can't love it very often, as many of you probably experience as well, right? I mean, there are, especially for those of us that as the years pass, we have to take more and more precautions with what we do put between our lips, don't we? And this is one of those things that, I'm sorry, I do splurge on, and I don't have to add sugar. You don't need added sugar with, like you do with lemon. Lemon doesn't have any sweetness. Some lemons do. I'm sorry, I don't mean to suggest that none do, but as a rule, they're more about the tartness. So you add a lot of sugar. That's not really necessary with the passion fruit curd that I make. Maybe I can do a video on that soon, because this is passion fruit season, and I don't know, I've never done food related videos. I didn't think that would be of much interest, since this is a soaping and mostly a soaping channel. Okay. So there are a few of the inner skins in there that I can filter out, but it doesn't really matter. Those are very thin. They will dissipate. They may be wondering, what are you going to do with those seeds? Well, I'm going to sieve this first of all and separate the seeds, but the seeds will be a part of the soap too. So hang out with me here. I'm going to get this in a sieve and get it separated, and then we can get to putting the soap together. This is why I like to remove the skins, because they can tend to clog your sieve and slow everything down a bit, which is what's happening. So it's taking this a little bit longer to do. So I'm going to go ahead and keep on this, get this separated, and then we're going to get this frozen so that we can put our soap together. So now I have my outer skins with a couple of seeds that stuck back, and I love to munch on these. They're delicious. Sorry. I'm going to go ahead and get these dehydrated and dried, because the skins were going to dry out, because wait till you see the color we're able to achieve. So I'm going to get them in the dehydrator and get them dried out, and then we're going to come back and move on to the next step. Because I'm going to be using this for coloring, this isn't for exfoliation exactly. I'm just wanting to sieve out the finer particles, because this is just going to be for coloring the outer part of the soap. See, we're just getting that very fine particles. It's just a very, very fine powder. We don't need these big, larger pieces yet. So I'm just going through and sieving through it a little at a time here. Alright, so I have some of my homemade glycerin soap here. That's a little yellow, I know. It's not perfect, but I think it'll be ideal for what I'm making. So I'm going to add in the ground up passion fruit peel that you saw me dry and grind up. So I'm going to add that into the, oh, I can smell it, the hot glycerin soap is activating a lovely fragrance out of this peel. And I'm hoping that this will act as a colorant for the outside of the soap that I'm going to be doing. I know it's still kind of a mystery on how I'm doing this, and it's nothing terribly original, but what I'm going to be doing is pouring this into a couple of, it may take a third mold, I'm not sure yet how many I'm going to do, but this will be the outer part of the passion fruit soap. Right. So actually, hang on, there was just a little muck there, okay? One and two, And I think I can do one more. So I'm only pouring this just about probably a half an inch or so. I want to spray, break up any bubbles. There we go. And get this last one poured here. So I decided that then rather than use the real seeds, which I've dried and they're wonderful, I thought those might be a little rough on the skin. So what I'm going to do is I took, in the soap that I showed where I did the custom laser soaps, I had made just some black goat milk soap and not goat milk soap, I'm sorry, just some black activated charcoal soap. It was actually made with distilled water in this case because it was just to do those laser soaps that I made. And I took one of those bars and added just a little bit of water, chopped up the bar and put it in the microwave and created this lovely paste that you see here. And I don't know that this is going to work. I'm going to use it in a cookie press or a pasta press, whichever you prefer. I'm going to load it into this and then squeeze it out and see if I can't make my own seeds. I've not tried this before with this method. Much of this is experimental, and that's why I'm sharing it with you. Let me zoom in. Oop, I'm going the wrong way. There we go. Zoom in just a tad bit there. Let me turn on another light. Okay, let's see. Well, that's about as good as we're going to get. And I'm just going to load this in. And it is mushy right now, but it will harden up as it cools. Because this was a very hard bar of soap. It's just, I chopped it up into really tiny chunks and put in about a tablespoon of water and heated it at about 15 to 20 second bursts, and then I would stir it. And so, can you treat cold process soap like a melt and pour, where you can just melt it over and over again? Probably wouldn't suggest that, but for this purpose, we're just making the little seeds. I think this may just work. And if it doesn't, we haven't lost anything, have we? Just one little bar of soap, and I'll still be able to use it as soap. All right, so get this in. Okay, there it comes. Okay. Goodness, this is coming out a little differently than I thought it would. I guess because there's so many strands of it. Okay. So I've done this on a tray here so that I can later just cut up the little pieces, hopefully, and use it as seeds. This didn't come out quite the way I'd hoped. Maybe I should have let it cool a little longer so it was a little stiffer, and it might have worked a little better. But here we have our soapy strings, which once they're cooled, I'm gonna cut them up and try to make some seeds. Let's see how that goes. Very nice. All right. About got them here, one more. And there we have our outer peel of our passion fruit. A little more red than purple, and that's because of the way they dried. You know, in nature, the passion fruit is alive and full of juice and goodness. So, but we're going to work with what we have here. And the next step is that I need to cut these into strips to go inside my molds. Alright, so I've got my outer rings cut and trimmed. They're not perfect, they're a little messy, but you know what, so am I. So they fit the mold, so to speak, pun intended. So now let's put together the passion fruit soap. Alright, so the next step now is to get our beautiful passion fruit juice melted. You'll see that some of the peel that got in there did kind of darken the bottoms where it sunk to the bottom a little bit, but I think that they will be just fantastic. You know what? I don't have my gloves on. Hold on. Very safe. So, gloves. And I really hope that this will retain the color and the scent. But that's why I'm using passion fruit oil in the soap to try to carry that fragrance through. Okay, I do see it darkening. You can see at the bottom that's melting. It's getting rather dark. I'm not going to let that worry me because through so many other things I've made throughout the years when doing this, they lighten once the soap dries. So fingers crossed. Alright, so now I'm going to add in our lovely passion fruit solution into our oils. Here we go. Let me turn that down a little bit. All that passion fruit is still coming through very strong. I'm hoping that it comes through in the end. Okay. And I know that the outside is a little thicker than it should be. The peel's not really that thick on passion fruit, but these are my passion fruit. And my passion fruit have very thick peels. So there. Now we'll let this set a little bit before we add in the quote-unquote seeds. All right, so these are the soap that I shredded up. You saw me push it out of the extruder, and then I kind of just broke it up into little pieces, and we're going to call them passion fruit seeds. We'll see how that works out. It's all an experiment. I've not done this quite like this before, but some of them look a little longer, like, oh, they look like mouse poop. Some do. So I may press those in a little bit. So there we go. Well, I've got that thought in my head now, and I'll probably put it in yours too. But these are, we're going to call them passion fruit seeds. So you're just going to have to deal with it. Like I'm having to deal with this. I didn't realize how tedious this was. I didn't make a large batch. I decided to just go with a small batch because this is more for fun. It's something that just occurred to me. I was in the backyard and the passion vine is just growing crazy and doing so well, and I just thought, why not? I've never thought. I've done videos on herbs and flowers and fruits on the channel before, growing here on the farm. And the passion fruit is just sort of one that I never thought about doing anything with it. Because I just eat them. I mean, like berries, I just pick them off and eat them. But why not make a soap? Now I have let me back up. I have used passion fruit in soap before. This was way before my YouTube days. I did actually use, not with the passion fruit oil, but just passion fruit, as I did in this video. And what I remember about it was that it was crazy bubbly. There's a little bit of overpour on a few of these, but that'll scrape off, or I may wipe it off. I'm doing this while the soap is not set up yet. Otherwise, these would just sit on top, and I'm trying to get them sort of incorporated in, like in the fruit, they're kind of scattered about, and there's a lot of seeds, and this won't have as many seeds as they do, but hopefully it emulates it on some scale. So once I took them out of the mold, I realized that while the fruits do have the yellow custardy kind of color inside, there is also sort of that green outline around the seeds. So no, it's not like these are supposed to be a perfect copy, but I thought I should try to get a little closer. So I went ahead and dried some of the passion vine leaves and mixed them into some of my glycerin soap. And I'm just painting, basically, or coating the tops of these like so, just to give them a little bit. Look, we're not going to get realism here. This is, the passion fruit itself is actually just a inspiration, you know, that it's not supposed to be a duplicate, but I'd like it to be as close to what it's emulating as possible. So just hitting them with this little bit of green hue, I think gets it a little closer. It won't be perfect because these did lighten as I knew that they would. I could have added something like turmeric or, you know, there are various different things I could have added to darken them. Because you'll see this is more of a turmeric-y color underneath. And the truth is, again, this wasn't about perfect realism, but you live, you learn. I just didn't want to use anything that was not passion vine, because I thought about mixing some different things up, you know, that, like I said, turmeric or annatto, and playing with the colors a bit. But I really wanted to keep this what it was, passion fruit. So it's passion fruit peel in the outside, passion fruit juice throughout the soap itself, and now the passion fruit leaf coating the top. So I don't know, it feels the way it should to me. But again, no, it's not a perfect representation of passion fruit, but it is inspired by. So I hope you enjoyed this, everyone. This was the most fun I've had in a long time. I used to do a lot more of this kind of thing, trying different little artsy kind of things that I shouldn't call this artsy. I should say just more effort. And this did take much more effort. But I'm very pleased with them. They do retain, right now at least, some of that passion fruit fragrance inside them, which is just so decadent and wonderful. I don't know that it will survive. Using the passion fruit oil, I was in hopes that it would be a little more, and so maybe it will after saponification, in the days and weeks ahead. We'll find out then. But we know the goodness is in there, and that's what matters. All right. I hope you enjoyed this. It was so much fun to do. It was a lot of work. Hard to believe get something kind of mediocre like this after all that work, but that's how it goes sometimes, right? Well, I really hope you enjoyed this. I certainly had fun. And I'm just fattening up on passion fruits. I've eaten so many over the last couple of days, but they are so deliciously good. And it's so much fun to be able to represent them in a soapy sort of way. Thank you so much, everyone, for visiting. And as always, thank you for all that you do. I look forward to seeing you back soon. Goodbye.